Hello, and welcome back to episode 2 of our Gone Solo Troika campaign. In our last episode, we met our two heroes, Magnaza, the wizard hunter, and Pointage, the dwarf, who were hired by Magnaza the Mad, a wizard, looking to expand his collection of magical artifacts and trinkets, and sent them to steal, basically, an explosive suit, which is like a suit of armor that has magical explosion and protection capabilities. So they went off to investigate the factory that was owned by King Olympus the Mercurial, who owns the suit. They found a factory where King Olympus is able to project his voice through these communication discs. But they did not find any evidence of the suit there. They were approached by a burglar named Vialglu, who was also interested in stealing the suit, and so they decided to work with him and then plan to betray him just to take advantage of his information. So they went to the wizard's tower, went through a series of all projectile and laser-themed traps to steal the suit, got it out, and then betrayed Vialglu. And in a stunning combat, Pointage dealt a mighty blow to Vialglu, killing him instantly. So that's where we're at. So a couple of things left over. I originally had erased Vialglu off of the NPC list because he was dead, but I decided to keep it on there. And if it comes back, it won't be Vialglu necessarily coming back, but that idea that there'll be some sort of repercussion if that ever comes up again. So the other questions that I have left over, and maybe we'll get an opportunity to explore those today, but my questions are, what is Magnaza doing? If she's a wizard hunter, why is she working for a wizard? So that's an interesting question that I want the answer to. And also, what does Pointage want out of all of this? And what is so important to Pointage that he's willing to kill? So before we get started, this town that has this factory and the wizard tower and everything, it needs a name. So we're going to go ahead and roll that up with our story cubes. Okay, I got a well and an angry face. So we'll call it Madwell. All right, so where we last left off, Magnaza and Pointage have the explosive suit, and they just need to get back to Troika to Magnaza. But something we revealed in the last episode is that there are a number of burglars who want this suit, not just Vialglu. When they got to the tower, there was a number of burglars all fighting each other to try to get this suit. So it seems to me that is going to be more complicated to get the suit out of Madwell. It's still night. They have the suit. It's in pieces. They're each carrying a piece, and they need to get back to the sort of voice wind projecting pod. So my question is, does that run at night, or are they going to have to wait until morning? It seems unlikely to me. It's kind of a smaller town that they would have 24-hour or however many hours we have in this world, on this sphere, we don't know. But it seems unlikely to me that transport would run at night. So they're going to need to find a place to hunker down and stay safe for the night. Can they get to an inn? I mean, there is an inn, but can they get in? That's the question. Yes, okay, there's an inn lined up. What's it called? The Speedy Scope. So they had already made arrangements, and they're going to head to the Speedy Scope and try to hide for the night. So what is our event that is going to impact this scene? 3, we're going to roll on the thread table. Okay, 3, Magnaza's goal. So this was a placeholder that I put, and whatever Magnaza wants is going to impact the way that this next scene goes. So what does Magnaza want? We know that she is a wizard hunter, but she's agreed to work for this wizard and steal this artifact, but from a different wizard. Let's roll on a story cube, see if we get any insight into what Magnaza wants. It's a dancing person. So what that means to me is Magnaza just wants to be a dancer. So maybe this is just like the last job. If she can do this, then she can quit being a wizard hunter and go on to her dream of being a dancer. We're going to add a new thread. Magnaza dreams of dancing. So they get to the end and they are able to smuggle up the pieces of the suit in their sacks. They are still very aware, keeping an eye out for any other burglars who might be prowling the town. But so far they seem safe, and they make it up to their rooms and they stash the suit and they're ready to get down for the night. There is a little music box in the room, and it's part mechanical and part magical. Maybe it's just a little mechanical fairy that's enchanted. But Magnaza goes over and winds it up, and it plays, and the little mechanical fairy dances, and it's sparkling magically. And then she starts to dance along, and Pointage is watching this. "Well, you do dance very beautifully." And Magnaza says, "Thank you. This is my final job, and we're almost done. Once we get paid for this, I can finally stop hunting wizards, and I can finally pursue my dream, which is to dance." We know that dwarves also have artistic goals and ambitions. Is that Pointage's goal? No, absolutely not. He is very different from other dwarves. He, in fact, does not want to create. He is a destructive dwarf. So Pointage wants to destroy beautiful and unique things. So Pointage doesn't, if he's that different than other dwarfs, he maybe doesn't really understand Magnaza's dream, but he watches anyway. And he says, "That reminds me of the other dwarfs from back home, always making things and seeking and making beauty. I never understood these things. In fact, I think I was made to destroy. I think maybe I was not made like other dwarves. Perhaps there is an error, or perhaps I am an improvement." And Magnaza is trying to keep dancing, but is a little disturbed by Pointage. So Magnaza says, "All right, well, all we have to do is tomorrow get this back to Myconet, this suit." So here's an interesting question. We know Pointage wants to destroy, and we know that this suit is incredibly destructive. Is Pointage going to try to take the suit for himself? Let's roll. Yes. He wants to take this suit and go use it to destroy things. Is he able to succeed in the night? He doesn't have any specific sneaking skills, and Magnaza doesn't have any specific awareness skills, so we'll just do a straight up roll, because they both have a skill of 5. So we'll just see who rolls higher. Pointage rolls 6 and Magnaza rolls 8. So in the middle of the night, Pointage gets up and very sneakily is trying to take all the pieces of the suit and stuff them in his bag. He wants to, go take this away. But he is not able to be quiet enough, and Magnaza wakes up. And she says, "What are you doing?" And Pointage, is Pointage honest? Or does he lie? He is honest, But he gives up. He says, I was going to take this suit for myself. I cannot lie. But I see that I was not able to do that. So I will just go back to bed now, and we will take it back to Magnaza in the morning. And so Pointage goes back to sleep, but Magnaza is not able to sleep now that she cannot trust this partner that she's been thrown with. So she keeps a watch for the rest of the night. So we'll call that a scene. The next morning, they get up and they need to get to the shouting pod station. But my guess is that the town is probably crawling with burglars. So is that the case? Are there burglars just everywhere? Yes, there are burglars everywhere. But, is there something else going on? But what? Counting money. So, there are burglars and pickpockets everywhere. They're more concerned today with stealing money. This is really funny to me. It's this whole town of just burglars. I don't know if that's actually the case, but there are an inordinate number of burglars and pickpockets that just constantly stealing from each other. So, the other question that I have is, has the alarm gone up? No, because we established that King Olympus was not on Sphere, right? He's off on his ship on a distant sphere, so I don't think he's not back anywhere. So I don't think an alarm has gone up. So they just need to get through this sea of burglars who are not specifically looking for their suit, just sort of stealing in general. So we'll have Magnaza roll under sneak, see if they're able to successfully sneak past all these burglars. Oh, 5 under 6, yep. So they make their way through the town, and the burglars are picking each other's pockets, and but Magnaza is able to, take some side alleys, and Pointage is hobbling along, following along. And they make it to the shouting pod station, and they load in, and they're able to make it back to Troika. So they get in their pod, and so they come to Magnaza's palace, and they display the suit, and Magnaza looks it over. He's got his magical seeing devices, and he is checking it over. And he says, were you able to put in the replacement? And Magnaza says, no, the plan changed quickly, and we took the opportunity to steal the suit rather than make a replacement. Is this a problem? No, absolutely not. No problem at all. He says, good, I just wanted to come up with a plan that made use of your skills, but it seemed like you were able to improvise in the moment. Very well. Thank you. And he hands them both very large sacks of gold and says, I may call on your services in the future. Thank you very much. So the question is now, what happens? Magnaza's got her money. She's going to go off and, do her dancing thing. And Pointage is going to go off and try to find things to destroy. So let's roll on our events table to see if anything else comes to bear on this scene. We're going to roll on the NPC table. And we roll a 4. So we got King Olympus. Magnaza and Pointage go off and do their thing. But King Olympus becomes aware, eventually, maybe it's in a couple days, that his suit has been stolen, obviously. And he suspects Myconette. How strongly does he suspect Myconette? Is he pretty sure, or is he just kind of going through the usual suspects? No, he's not sure that Myconette has done it, but he's he's got a strong suspicion, but he doesn't know for sure. Olympus comes to call on Myconette, and they're doing their wizardly, polite, but actually they're veiled barbs kind of thing. And Myconette, of course, has sealed away the suit, away from prying eyes and magical eyes. And we know Olympus is mercurial, right? And so Myconette says, what do I owe this honor to host the great Olympus? And Olympus says, I've had something go missing recently, and I was wondering if perhaps you have heard anything, or do you know anything? Oh, you've had something stolen. Well, there's enough burglars in Madwell to fill a sack, as they say. Why, yes, they do say that. That's a very common phrase. So you don't know anything, are you sure? Me? Steal from the great Olympus? How could I even conceive of such an idea? And at this point, Olympus's mood changes, and he casts a spell, and he kind of looms over and towers over Myconette and says, if you took it, I would rend you limb from limb. Myconette is totally unperturbed by this, as he is also a wizard of great power, and says, yes, well, good luck. If I do see or hear anything, I will be sure to let you know. But Myconette is a little worried that Olympus is on his trail. So something that we can do, because it's going to be some time, is that we can roll for getting better. Pointage is going to increase strength and hammer fighting, but Magnaza does not improve. So here's what I think we're going to do. We've resolved the thread of stealing the explosive suit, but we know that Olympus has some suspicions. And because Magnaza fired so many bolts in the Wizard's Tower, and these were not retrieved, Olympus is probably going to be able to cast some sort of spell on them and track her down. I don't know if he's going to be able to do the same for Pointage, if there be kind of any evidence that Pointage was there. I don't think so. It seems beyond question to me that he would be able to track Magnaza. Is he also able to track Pointage? No. So we're going to come up with a new thread. Olympus hunts Magnaza. Where I want to follow this is because Magnaza and Pointage didn't really, form a bond of any kind. And I don't know if Pointage is maybe capable of that. So we're going to follow Magnaza. We know Magnaza got her money. She's got this dream to go be this dancer. But she's going to be hunted by the agents of Olympus. That seems interesting enough for me to follow, so we'll go that way. So, Magnaza's got her money. She's on her way, or she's going to go on her way. How far away does she need to go? Where does she need to go? It's a nearby sphere, so she will need to travel by some sort of means. Let's roll on our travel between the spheres chart. She has to travel by golden sail barge. So she will have to find and hire a ship that will take her to a nearby sphere where she can pursue her dream. So she is at the shipyards, and we're going to roll in our event table to see what comes to bear. 1, a book enemy. Well, that makes sense. So let's see what kind of monster Keg Olympus has sent after her. I assume that's what's up. We'll see. 56. A sympathy serpent. Dark, thick as a man's thigh, and as long as 3 destriers. They crush their prey as you'd expect such a snake to do, but their hunting style is idiosyncratic. They do not wrestle with their quarry, but offer a gentle embrace, telling them it's okay to let go. They're here now. Together prey and predator mourn the crushing awfulness of reality as one swallows the other whole. All right, so she's at the docks. There's a lot of bustling. There's these giant ships with these golden sails that are flying off up into the upper reaches of the sphere onto travel distance spheres. And, you know, there's barrels and crates, and there's sailors, and there's a lot of activity. And she's looking for passage to whatever this particular sphere is that's nearby that she's trying to find. And here through the crowd slithers up this sympathy serpent. So eventually comes up to approach Magnaza and says, "Oh, it's quite busy here, isn't it? It's just so busy. I don't know if I really even fit in here." And Magnaza's like, "Why is this serpent just trying to talk to me? This is so bizarre." Does she suspect anything? We just gotta roll under skill. She doesn't have anything specific. So she has a skill 5. She rolled a 5. And that, when rolling under, that is a success. She is immediately suspicious. She's got her hand on her sword, and the sympathy serpent tries to curl up and say, "You know, it's okay. You don't have to worry about anything. I'm right here." But because Magnaza is suspicious, she draws her sword and strikes the sympathy servant. So we are in combat. Let's create our stock. 2 red cubes for Magnaza, 2 white cubes for the serpent, and 1 black in the round cube. Here we go. All right. Oh, after rolling the cube. Don't need to do that. All right. So Magnaza gets the first strike. She's using her sword. So she's rolling 6 skill plus the sympathy serpent skill of 5. So 6 plus 6 is 12. 5 plus 8 is 13. So the serpent is actually able to do damage. So Magnaza brings out her sword and tries to strike, but the sympathy serpent comes along and bites her arm, dealing damage as a small beast. Ooh, 6. Ooh, dealing 5 damage. Ouch! So takes a big chunk out of Magnaza's arm. Ah! All right, next. Oh, it's the end of round. So that's the first round, and we put everything back in the bag. Now we're back to even odds. Okay, up. Magnaza's up again. She swipes with her sword yet again. Okay, that's 6 plus 6 and 9. Oh, plus 9. Okay, so the sympathy serpent is able to deal damage again with another 6. Oh, that's another 5 damage. Bringing Magnaza's total down to math 7. So Magnaza tries to swipe and swipe again, but the sympathy serpent, it's just holding on. It has just got her arm and is just wrenching it around, taking even bigger bites, and even taking more out of her arm. Remember when I said Troika might be lethal? Yeah, I think he might be. We'll see. End of round again. Magnaza up again. Not that it really matters because we're just rolling versus anyway. All right, is she able to do anything? Oh, there we go. There's a good roll, Magnaza. There we go. Okay, so she's able to deal damage with her sword. And she rolls it, so that's 4 damage. Bringing the Sympathy Serpent down to 2 stamina. All right, so she's finally able to break free, and she slashes down the Sympathy Serpent, who goes... All right, now it's the Sympathy Serpent's time to strike. It's okay. You don't need to fight. Just relax. You don't need to fight or struggle at all. All right, so that's 10 versus 10, but she's got the higher skill here. Don't tell me to calm down, she says, dealing damage with her sword, and that'll do it. So she slices off the serpent's head, but now she's suspicious, and she knows that someone is after her. Does she suspect that it's Olympus himself? Yes. Something about the snake. Maybe the snake had some sort of like, what would a snake wear? Like a collar, and the coloration of the collar reminded her of something she had seen in the factory. So she's got a pretty good sense that Olympus is after her. So all the more reason to find passage. Question is she able to find passage that leaves today? No. It's going to take a while for her to find passage. Let's like roll a 1d3. How long before the next ship? Okay, so it's just tomorrow. So she just has to hunker down for today. She finds lodging. She needs to rest to recover her stamina. So she recovers 5 stamina, which will put her back at 12. So still not fully healed. And she'll eat one of her provisions. Okay, 13. So still not fully healed, but better than she was. As she sits in her room in the inn near the docks, she wonders to herself, what trouble has she brought down on herself? She's so close to getting to her goal, but now there's some complications. So I think we're going to stop it there. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if Pointage thread comes back around. It's not clear to me yet how those might intersect, but we will see. All right. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying, and stick around for more Troika.